Hi everybody, welcome to Family Time. My name is Miss Susan and thank you all for coming today. We've got our buddy Dewey here, all ready to listen to our stories. Here we go. And let's start with our first book, and it's called Good Night Veggies. Good night, veggies. Do veggies sleep? I don't know. We'll read the book and find out. Sunset in the garden. Robins in their nest. There's the robin. Look what I see here. You see this little worm? We're going to watch for him in the book. Tossing, turning veggies need to get some rest. Turnips tucked in tightly and potatoes closing eyes. And look, here's our friend the worm. Tuckered out tomatoes humming lullabies. Cuddly cauliflowers and droopy pods of peas. Rhubarbs reading stories to worn out broccolis. Baby carrots snuggling and baby lettuce too. Baby eggplants dreaming of places far and new. Cucumbers are calm, lined up nice and neat. Golden yams are still, and beets are simply beet. Cabbages are nodding their leafy, sleepy heads, and radishes are dozing in cozy garden beds. And there's Mr. Worm again, checking on the radishes. Celery is snoring as sunset disappears, and cranky corn rolls over and covers up its ears. Every veggie snoring beneath the moon so bright, for nothing's more exhausting than growing day and night. And there's our worm here, sleeping in his very long, very skinny bed. Good night, sleepy veggies. Sleep tight. And that is Good Night Veggies. Now, I've got a little story over here about a man who had trouble sleeping. And he had trouble sleeping because his house was very noisy. The floor creaked, and the bed squeaked, and the tea kettle whistled, and there were always leaves falling on the roof going swish, swish, swish. Well, this man decided to go to the wise man in the village to ask for help, what to do with his noisy house. Excuse me. So he went to the wise man. There he is. And he told him about his problem with the creaky floor and the squeaky bed and the tea kettle that whistled and the leaves that go swish, swish. And the wise man said, get a sheep. And the man thought, get a sheep? Now, how is that going to help me sleep? Counting sheep? Maybe. I don't know, but we'll try. So he got a sheep. Well, what happened that night when he tried to sleep was that the floor creaked and the bed squeaked and the tea kettle whistled and the leaves on the roof went swish, 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 and the sheep went bah, bah. And he went back to the wise man the next day and he said, you know, it was not any quieter because now I have the sheep going bah, bah, bah. And the wise man said, I know what to do. Get a rooster. And the man thought, well, okay, he's the wise man, so I will listen. So he got the rooster, and that night he went to bed, and what happened? The floor creaked, the bed squeaked, the tea kettle whistled, the leaves went swish, swish, the sheep went bah, and the rooster went cock-a-doodle-doo. More noise. So he said, back to the wise man. Wise man, this is not working. And the wise man said, I know what to do. Get a dog. Okay. So he got a dog, and that night, the floor creaked, the bed squeaked, the tea kettle whistled, The leaves went swish, swish, swish. The sheep went what? Bah, bah. And the rooster went cock-a-doodle-doo, and the dog went bark, bark, bark. More noise still. So he went back to the wise man again. And the wise man said, you need to get a donkey. Okay, so he got a donkey. And that night the floor creaked, the bed squeaked, the tea kettle whistled, the leaves went swish, swish. The sheep went baa, and the rooster went cock-a-doodle-doo, and the dog went bark, bark, and the donkey went bray, bray. It seems to just be getting noisier. So he went back to the wise man, and the wise man said, get a cow. Okay, I'll try it. So he got the cow, and that night the floor creaked, the bed squeaked, the tea kettle whistled, the leaves went swish, swish, the sheep went baa, and the rooster went cock-a-doodle-doo, and the dog went bark, bark, and the donkey went bray, and the cow said moo. Very noisy, very noisy. Back to the wise man, and this time the wise man said, get a cat. So he did. He got a cat, a black one. And the cat went, and the floor went creak, creak, and the bed went squeak. The tea kettle went whistle, the leaves went swish, the sheep went baa, the rooster went cock-a-doodle-doo, the dog went bark, bark, the donkey went bray, and the cow went moo, and the cat said meow. So the man went back to the wise man, and the wise man said, all right, now let all of the animals go. Okay, I'll try it. So he let the sheep go, and the rooster go, and the dog, and the donkey, and the cow, and the cat. And that night, when the floor went creak, and the bed went squeak, and the tea kettle went whistle, and the leaves went swish, swish on the roof, it seemed so quiet to him that he was able to sleep. And that's the story of the noisy house and the man and the wise man. And now one more story about sleeping. And this one's called Good Night, Bob. There's Bob in bed. Good night, Bob. Good night, Bob, said the moon. And Bob saw 2 eyes. So he got out his flashlight and he looked, and it was Fish. And Fish said, good night, Bob. And then he saw 2 more eyes. Got out his flashlight to look, and it was Cat. Good night, Bob, said Cat. He saw 2 more eyes. Got out his flashlight, it was Dog. Good night, Bob, said Dog. And then he saw 2 more eyes. And this time it was a mouse. Good night, Bob, said Mouse. Bob saw 2 eyes at the window. And it was Bigfoot. Good night, Bob, said Bigfoot. And then Bob saw lots of eyes. And it was Stars. Good night, Bob, said Stars. And Bob closed his 2 eyes. And there's the fish and the dog and the cat. Good night, Bob. Well, that's all the time I have for story time today. But I have 3 animals that would like to say goodbye to you. And the first one is Mr. Raccoon. And he says, see you soon, Raccoon. See you soon. And the second one is Mr. Toad. And he says, hit the road, hopping toad, hit the road. And the last one is Butterfly. And Butterfly says, Bye-bye, butterfly. And I say bye-bye too. Bye-bye. Thanks for joining me.